I'm Hector Armienta. I'm the composer and librettist for Zorro, which is being premiered by Fort Worth Opera in January. And I'm thrilled to be joined by the wonderful national and international mezzo soprano star, Kirstin Chavez. Hello, Kirstin.
Hello, Hector. Muchas gracias. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. So Kirstin and I have a little bit of history. She starred as Ultima in one of my last works, Bless Me Ultima, which was produced by Opera Southwest, commissioned by them, as well as my company, Opera Cultura. And Kirstin, if you hadn't seen Bless Me Ultima, she was fabulous. So I am thrilled beyond belief to have her sing one of the main roles in Zorro. So welcome, Kirstin.
Thank you, Hector. January is going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome, yes. Okay, so let's start off a little bit. Let's start off and tell me a little bit how you started as an opera singer.
Well, my father was a singer. He was an expert in Spanish American folk music, and he recorded a few albums and taught me these Spanish songs when I was very young. I thought I would be a musical theater singer until I got to do my bachelor's degree in New Mexico. And that was when I heard my first opera. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. It's pretty much the hardest thing I could think of to do with my life. It has been, and it has been immensely rewarding.
Yeah, it's definitely a passion to sing opera.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and I saw on your resume that you've sung, both nationally, internationally. You were at the Met, I believe, was it last year or the year?
No, 2 years ago now, yeah.
Yeah, before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And how exciting that was! How exciting that was for you. So let's start right away with the next question I have for you. So you are singing the role of Carlotta. What are your and that's interesting. I'll tell you a little bit. When I originally was working on the libretto, I didn't envision Carlotta playing such a significant role in the opera, but it really is an important role in terms of the narrative and the story. So what do you?
I feel that. Yeah, I feel that, Hector, and I love her. I love the fact that she is very driven by love, and that her love is unconditional. The love that she feels for Zorro is eternal, and she basically sacrifices herself for his sake and for the sake of the person that he loves now. And that resonates very strongly with me personally, because I think, nothing is more important in this world than love. And to me, she symbolizes that.
Yeah. And just a little bit, when I wrote the role, or when I think about it, a little bit of the backstory is that when Diego, as a young man, goes to Spain, he meets this, he's very young, right? His father sends him to Spain to go to the military academy before he returns back to Los Angeles. Right? And he's in Sevilla. Yeah. And he meets this wonderful woman who he has a love affair with. Yes. A very passionate love affair. But then it doesn't, well, why don't you share a little bit about not what happens at the end, but just terms of what happens when you return, the character Carlotta returns to Los Angeles and meets Diego.
Well, I feel like I'm really delighted to see him. I think that I harbor a certain amount of hope that maybe there's something still between us. And that's very evident in the way I'm expressing myself and the way I am trying to include him in current activities. But it becomes clear fairly early on that he's enamored with someone else.
Yeah.
And that's hard to take, but it's opera. So
and that's Ana Maria.
Yes, Ana Maria, exactly.
His childhood friend. So it's going to be an interesting dynamic. Between when I'm thinking just in terms of also having these voices. You're the mezzo and Ana Maria's the soprano.
Yes.
Typical sort of cast.
Standard opera conventions.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Looking for the right term. But it's going to be very interesting, and it's a very powerful. Well, we won't go into details because we don't want to give that away.
Right.
It's exciting. Yeah. Okay. So my next question. How would you describe the music in Zorro? I'm thinking specifically your music.
Yeah, I love, okay. I absolutely love it. And, when I was asked to participate in Zorro, I mean, there was no thinking, there was no negotiating. It was just absolutely because I knew, Hector, that you were the composer. And
Thank
having
you.
spent our time on Bless Me Ultima, I knew even before I saw the score that I was going to absolutely love it. And I absolutely do. It's so lush. It's a very romantic sound to me. The harmonies are inventive, and just very rich, I find, modern, and yet, tapping into even some of the romantic era type of harmonies. But I also particularly love the references to Spanish rhythms and ornaments, they're so prevalent in my role, certainly. And that very much speaks to me, having done Carmen many times. I live in that Spanish
You're famous.
classical. It's
Yeah.
it's what I love to do, and there's a very unique flavor of that Spanish music within the classical realm, that I think you capture so beautifully. And there are a number of references in my music to specific rhythm types, specific dance types, and there's a very big folk element, which of course was also present in Bless Me Ultima, although that was a very specific New Mexican flavor, which was so wonderful. Also, of course, derived from Spain, but these are more directly Spanish, which is thrilling to me.
Yeah, yeah. And I was going to just mention that, for those of you who have not had the joy of hearing or seeing Kirstin, she is recognized as one of the foremost singers for Carmen. So when I learned that you were going to sing Carlotta, I thought, what amazing casting! Perfect,
Oh, thank you,
perfect.
Hector.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm
absolutely.
overjoyed.
Yeah, absolutely pleased. And I would say, Diego definitely has Spanish motifs. He has different ones depending upon things, but there's two or three, I would say two definitely that represent his character and mood. But your character, I think, because the idea is that you are from Sevilla, your character really captures the Spanish flavor culturally and musically. And yours is, when I wrote the music for your character, I did everything I could to make sure that it was as authentic as possible.
I love that.
Yeah.
It
And
really comes across.
yeah, thank you. And there is one that I think will be really interesting for you. And I know you're saying it now, but it's the piece called El Zorro, which is a Spanish Bullaria.
Oh,
It's the one that you
yeah,
sing
the
at
one that
the
I'm
end.
referencing in the party. Is it the one I'm
Yes,
referencing?
and
Yeah. Okay.
the masquerade party. And as you probably know, I travel to Spain quite a bit when I
Yes.
can. It's like I love, Barcelona is my favorite.
Oh,
But
yeah.
when I was writing that piece, it took me quite a while because, and I want to say that I co-wrote it because initially I was going to do it by myself, but it was just too challenging. So I co-wrote it with someone else. And it is a bulería, which is counts in 12. And
Wow.
all of that syncopation, I was just, studying with a couple of people on how to write it. I was watching videos, all that rhythm. So yeah, so I'm really excited to hear you
Oh,
sing that.
oh, Hector.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
such a joy. I can't even tell you. I absolutely love it.
yeah,
Truly.
yeah.
I hope you'll be very happy.
Oh, I'm sure I will be. I'm sure I will be. Okay, so my last question, if you were to tell someone who doesn't know Zorro, the story, or what would you tell them about why they should come to see this production?
Wow, I think there are a lot of reasons for that. And I mean, being a romantic myself, I'd say that's a big reason, because it's not really, I guess, a love triangle that's happening, but a little bit in some ways, given that I still have such strong feelings for Diego, and he's interested in someone else. But so there's that romantic story. There's also a bit of a villain happening, which is always fun. Of course, the low man, the baritone, the bass baritone is always the bad guy.
Yeah.
And we have a good bad guy in this piece, so that's exciting. And I think that people are going to be absolutely enamored of the music, Hector, if I may say that.
Oh, thank you.
I really, you know, there's such a desire for modern opera composers who can take stories that we know and bring them to life on the stage with, you know, within this classical realm, but in a way that's accessible for everybody. And I think that you capture that so beautifully. You know, for me personally, I'm a big proponent of modern opera. I've done quite a few of them in my career, and I will continue to do so. I think it's very important, but I always struggle when some of the pieces that I've done seem to lack the sense of melody. For me, melody is critical. Melody is indispensable. It must be there because that is what people attach to at that subliminal level, that subconscious level. They react to melody. That's where their emotions ride. And I, as a singer, relish beautiful melody, and I know that my listeners do as well. And I think that you've captured that very beautifully, Hector. So I think for the power of the story, with the love between various characters and the antagonist who comes and tries to break everybody up, and then the lush, beautiful melodic music. I think there's plenty of reason to come and enjoy this really great story that many of us have heard of, but maybe don't know quite as well. So we'll get to dig in.
Yeah, and also I'll just share with you that one of my my great loves in terms of novelist is Isabel Allende. And I love how she creates these stories and draws on history. So many of the references in Zorro, it's set in 1814 during the time of great political turmoil in Spain. And so that's sort of the historical and narrative background, fight for justice. So it's I think people will really like it. I'm hoping so.
I know they will. I have zero doubt.
Thank you, Kirstin. Well, it's been a joy, and thank you everybody for taking the time to watch this video and meet one of the amazing stars that will be performing in Fort Worth Opera's production of Zorro in January.